name is Marietta Mahani, and this week's muscle conditioning tip is going to be an exercise where we're doing standing up. It's also pelvic floor safe, so there's no jumping or running with this, but of course speak to your women's health physio or your practitioner about whether this is absolutely appropriate for you, because it depends on where you're at with that pelvic floor challenge. So we're going to be using one dumbbell, and today's weight is 1.5 kilos. So nothing heavy for this one, because we're going to be doing lots of motion where we're balancing on one leg, and so a heavier weight will make it more challenging to balance. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to hold a dumbbell in my left hand. I'm going to do what's called a straight leg deadlift. So dumbbell's not very heavy. I'm just going to hinge forwards at the hips and then come back up again. Hinge forwards at the hips and come back up. So whenever you're doing these sorts of movements, it's important that your feet are not too far apart and that you're hinging at the hips rather than rounding at the spine. It does feel very different. You'll feel that your muscles around your spine are being active, so your rectus spinae muscles are on, and you'll also feel that you're sort of getting a minor stretch in the back of the hamstrings. If you find that you can't get very far, and a mirror is a good idea. So if you're an instructor, you need to observe your participants, because some of them don't have great technique, and that's because they sit at a desk all day and they'll all want to round forwards. Don't go as far forwards. Doesn't matter though, because once we add the balance, those sorts of things tend to self-correct, because you can't round your back and balance at the same time. So we start off by doing this. Now if you're an instructor, I usually do 2 blocks of music, so there will be about 16 repetitions of this, so down, up. Alright, so after I've done that 16 times, I'm going to lift up my right leg. So I'm going to lift up my right leg, oops, and then come back up again. Lift up my right leg and come back up again. So it's the opposite leg to where I'm holding the dumbbell, and I'm balancing on my left leg. So as I come back to standing, my right leg doesn't touch the floor. Of course, you can choose to do that if you find that it's just too challenging for you to do that, but that's the goal. The goal is to maintain your weight on your left leg and balancing, so you're keeping your right leg off the floor. So back to this position. Again, I usually do around about 8 repetitions at least, sometimes 16, so I'll go for 2 blocks of music. And then after I've done that, I'll give participants an option to now take the left arm back and the right arm forward. Left arm back and the right arm forward. So the dumbbell's in my left hand and it's going backwards. So I'm getting a bit of posterior deltoid work as well, and a little bit more load and effort to the movement, because I'm also extending my lever. So my right arm going forward makes my torso a little bit longer as I lift that leg up and down. Again, approximately 8 repetitions. So after I've done 8 of those, there is a progression. So I'll face this way so you can see what we're going to do. I'm going to drop down, reach forwards, then come to standing and take it out to the side. Drop down, reach, come up and take it out to the side. And everything now is done at the same tempo. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. And the entire time I'm balancing on one leg. So this is going to really challenge your balance. Of course, you're going to let your foot touch the floor occasionally when you lose it. But the idea is to see how many repetitions you can do without touching the floor. If you're a fitness instructor, you may choose to get people to touch the floor maybe every 2nd time or every 4th time if they're fatiguing. All right. So again, after at least 8 repetitions of this, there's one more little progression. So I'm going to drop down, left arm goes back, come to standing, and I perform 2 of these abductions but a little faster. Drop, come up. Go out, in, out, in. Now check it out. Dumbbell in my left hand for the side lift, right hand for the side lift, back to my left hand. So keep it in the left hand, lift, pass it to your right hand, lift, come down and drop forwards. Wow, this is a solid leg workout. You'll also feel this in your lower back in a good way, and you'll also feel it in the back of that left shoulder because of the movement that you're doing with the dumbbell to the back consistently. Quite a challenging exercise. You don't need a lot of weight. In fact, you don't even need weights at all. But the weight gives you a reference point as well, and it gives you that little bit of posterior deltoid workout. If balance is a challenge, this is a great one to do to help improve your balance, because also you're changing where the head position is, which will add an added level of challenge. So this week we've done a whole leg workout, back workout, and arm workout on one side, and then you do the same thing on the opposite side. If you'd like to find out more about my offerings as far as training is concerned, check out my website, mariadamahani.com. And that's this week's muscle conditioning pelvic floor safe tip.